welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. I am Tim, and with me is my co-host, Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
Tim, it's demonology. Satanism for pussies.
What a line. What a line.
Gate 2!
Oh my gosh. It is insane. It is this movie's a sequel, but it seems very, I don't know, inspired by different things.
It went its own way.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I guess maybe like, hey, we're older now. These are teenagers, so they had to like kick it up a notch on some stuff. So here you are with that line, and wow.
Yeah, that happens in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. You're like, whoa, all right, here we go.
They get into it. They certainly just go right into it.
Yeah. So before we get into this movie,
Yeah,
Tim, I made you watch the original this past weekend.
you did. Yeah,
The Gate.
The Gate. Yeah, which I've known so much about. It's like one of those things where people would say like, oh, The Gate, like great kids movie that treated kids like adults. Like it's a bit goes harder for a kids movie type of deal.
Yeah.
So I knew a lot about it. I knew Stephen Dorff was in it.
Most of those they people was me, by the way.
No, other people have told me this too.
I know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm not like the number one fan of it.
Sure.
But I'm just like, I've been begging you to watch this movie for years. Like, this movie's
Usually
really good.
older millennials. No offense.
That's okay. Sounds
Yeah.
better than geriatric millennials.
Sure.
Thank you.
I mean,
Okay.
I feel like I'm still kind of part of the older group too, because the millennials go a lot longer than I think I even realized at first.
I was
But
listening
anyway.
to another podcast where they described the difference in the millennials generation.
Yeah.
And there's the half that knows Saved by the Bell after school,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the other half who watched SpongeBob.
No, I miss SpongeBob completely.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that I'm in that Saved by the Bell generation where
Yeah. Same.
I laugh at some of the SpongeBob memes. I don't understand half of them.
I never really got it. Like, cause I remember like there were some kids in like high school that were stoners and thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But it was like they watched it because they got access to it from their siblings, their younger siblings. It wasn't like anyone in my group it wasn't out when we were kids. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So anyway, I heard a lot about this movie. I've probably seen clips of it too. So it was fun to check out this movie, and we got to watch it together. You got to expose me to it, and it was fun. It was like a lot of 80s kind of horror-ish things. It goes harder than you would ever expect a movie would be nowadays, And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was crazy to see baby Stephen Dorff.
Yeah.
And it's like he's such a recognizable face. Like even with that little mop head and little kid, he's like, that's Stephen Dorff.
Yeah, no, those eyebrows are iconic.
Yeah.
So you're a fan. You were a fan of the original. So
Yeah, even as an adult checking it out really for the first time, like I was a fan. I enjoyed it.
And I'm a decades-old fan of this movie, so I've always been curious about Gate 2. I remember seeing trailers on some VHS rented or whatever advertising this movie, but I've never seen it in the wild.
I never knew a sequel existed.
So this was a first for me, and whew. Okay then. I don't think it's bad.
I'm surprised how much I didn't hate it.
Yeah, right?
It's not the lowest on my list already.
It's competent.
Yeah. At times
just,
when it does things, you're like, it's doing this one thing really well right now. And then there's other times you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially that ending. Is a doozy of that ending.
I laughed so hard.
Of course you did.
I laughed hard at a lot of this movie. I think I'm mostly laughing with it, but yeah, I definitely am at it at times.
Yeah.
It's certainly not as good as the original at all.
Sure.
But
I think
I've seen worse horror sequels.
Yeah. It has a harder time sticking with its tone. Because I feel like there's some times where like the character's a certain way, like the line you mentioned in the beginning. We're like, okay, I'd like to see a lot of this. And you almost get that. And I guess this kind of goes, although we have to kind of explain the movie first. But like, and then there's other times you're like, well, this doesn't fit. That's not the character who said that line earlier. So it's weird.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. This is your choice, Tim.
My choice, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was an original movie where these kids accidentally opened a hole to demons, I guess, in another plane or some kind of thing.
The other side.
Yeah, and so our hero in this movie is the friend from the original movie. What's his name again?
Terry.
Terrence, right? Yeah.
Well, it was Terry in the original. He prefers to go by Terrence now.
Yeah, he's older. He's a teenager. Yeah.
I still call him Terry.
Fair enough. So Terrence, I guess it's like 2 years later apparently, and has been going through a rough patch, and he wants to fix it, and so he's going to open up this nether hole region again, and because you can get wishes apparently from this now, he discovered, I guess. So that's his plan, and so he does so with a group of couple other kids, not on purpose, and horror ensues.
What's wild is that my boy Terry dies in the first movie. He straight up gets ripped. He gets grabbed by a made-up corpse and ripped and dragged into the netherworld, the other side.
So does his sister.
And she, her later too. And then gets a reprieve at the end of the movie, a sudden magical reprieve. He gets to live again.
Right.
So it's wild to think that here we are a couple years later in the sequel. He's like, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Like, I've been given this second chance, and I have decided to use my time on Earth to open the gate to the demon world again.
Well, this is the problem, I think, with the hero.
Yeah.
Right? It is because at first you get this opening monologue, right, where he's like, I'm not gonna lie, it was the most exciting time of my life.
Yeah, it was like 2 years later. It was horrifying, but it was also the most exciting time of my life. It's all there.
So you almost get
about.
this thing of like he's trying to recapture that, right?
That magic of being dragged to hell.
Sure, but then you're getting this thing later where it's like, and you find this out a bit later in the movie where he catches his dad putting a gun in his mouth. And so he feels like he needs to basically make this wish to fix this crisis with his dad.
Yeah, my dude's been studying the texts, the ancient texts, some of which were found on, I guess, in the album covers of heavy metal bands.
Right, when the first movie. One. Yeah, the original. But it's weird. In the original, they show like it's absentee households, and he's like almost raising himself. But then all of a sudden they throw in this mom character that apparently died, and I wasn't clear when the mom exactly died and when things apparently got worse because they didn't look great in the first movie. So I thought all of that was weird.
Yeah, no, the timeline gets a little screwy because it definitely the first movie made you think that Terry's mom was already dead,
right?
Because they used the mom character to lure him for something or other, and then the sequel is like, oh yeah, she just died last year. I'm like, yeah, the first movie happened 2 years ago. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, whatever.
Exactly.
Let's move on.
None of that made any sense. So you have this weird, like, is he recapturing something? Is he trying to save his dad? I mean, it clearly eventually goes more into the dad thing than anything else. But it was a little weird motivation rockiness.
All you need to know is that mom died, dad became an alcoholic, lost his pilot job, and is suicidal with his alcoholism now.
And he needs to save his so he's got some altruistic motivations here. He needs to save his
Sure, he wants to make deals with demons for good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
So our man, our hero from the original, Glenn, his house is now abandoned and like condemned, I guess.
Yeah, it's like fenced off and boarded up and stuff.
Yeah. There's a chain link fence now instead of the wooden fence that used to be there before, letting you know like it's dilapidated.
Yeah.
We have no idea what happened to Glenn and his family. They're just not there anymore.
Not there. Yeah, they never explain it.
Not one word. Like, okay, it's a little annoying, but
I was really hoping they'd give you a throwaway line or something at
just
some point,
one. Just one. No. Our man Terry is now grown up to about the same age as Glenn's sister was in the first movie. So he's like 14, 15, something in that area. The actor, anyway.
Right. I guess so. I mean, it looks like he's aged a bit more than what he was in the... He also definitely... I mean, you could also say, hey, middle school to high school, hey, kids changed their look, right? But it was a little disappointing because he's got this, like, heavy metalish type look to him. He's got a cool jacket and everything in the first one. And now he's dressing pretty bland.
He's basically transformed into a Paul Dano character.
I totally got Dano vibes too. It's funny.
Yeah. And in the opening minutes of the movie...
Gate 3, Paul Dano, bring it on.
I would watch the hell out of it. So the opening minutes of the movie, my man is monologuing really quickly what happened in the first movie and what he's thinking is now. And he says, like, and you're the only one I can talk to about this, Dad. And you see he's, like, drunk and passed out.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that is sad.
But
sadness,
again,
darkness.
It made sense to me based on what we saw in the first. I was like, all that computes. It wasn't until the mom stuff came up. It's like, now this is all confusing.
Yeah. So Terry's theory is that opening a gate to demons is fine if you do it the right way.
Yes. There's proper procedures and knives and right way to sacrifice things and yada yada.
It's all about the execution. So this time he has a purple robe, red candles, a computer that I guess operates the lasers for the mirrors, which creates a pentagram circle.
Using some speakers too.
Very 90s. And he's got an amplifier and a microphone,
the whole 9 yards,
and a hamster for the sacrificial offering.
Can we talk too about the circle he creates?
Sure.
One, it's not a circle.
It's supposed to.
It's not. Yeah,
he's been calling it a circle. It's really supposed to be more like a pentagram, I think. The way it's
right. But even whatever he creates, it looks like a rectangle. Like it's there's no shape that I've ever seen in anything like this that looks correct.
I think it's supposed to be a pentagram, but without like the lines inside, it just looks,
I guess,
like a stop sign.
But immediately I see it, right? Because it's like technology and projector and mirrors and stuff.
Yeah, it's the 90s now. Computers are involved.
Yeah, but immediately I'm like, this sounds like a really bad idea, and this circle's gonna get broken. Like, pretty quickly. Like, I don't know, like 2 seconds in, I'm like, this is the dumbest idea. Like, even when people are doing it with the salt and stuff in traditional movies, you're always like, oh, is that foot going to get too close and it's going to break the circle? Like, really? Projector technology with mirrors? This is so much worse. This is such a dumb idea.
Yep. Yeah, you don't even know when it gets broken. It's stupid.
Yeah. It's really dumb.
Anyway, so a couple of hoodlum teams come in.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into more depth on them later, but yeah.
Yeah, apparently they've obviously been using this house for, like, drinking. That's what teens do.
I guess that makes sense, right? Because they want to cruise or whatever they said. So
when Terry first gets into the house, he's kicking over some beer cans to get this area set up. So I was like, okay, so teens have been using this to drink.
I missed that. Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Well, they were cans, but I'm assuming beer.
I think it's a fair assumption. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And when the teens get there, he's like, oh, you're doing some Satan worship shit. He's like, and that's where he says, like, the iconic line.
Oh, yeah.
It's demonology. Satanism is for pussies. I had to pause the movie and laugh. I really did. And I was like, no.
And just to prove, right, it's like, this is older and all that kind of stuff, right? And, of course, the gecko is always, like, the go-to move. Sorry, it's Sumerian. Like, yep, there it is.
Oh, yeah, it's always Sumerian.
It's always Sumerian.
Thank you, Ghostbusters, who did this to us. So, Terry does the whole thing, and I'll get into more details about all that later. Yeah. He does the ceremony. Doesn't work. And he picks up, like, eventually the minion demon minion thing that he summons ends up dying, and we'll explain why later.
I can't wait for that.
And he wraps the thing up in his cloak and then brings it home and puts it in a pickle jar. Yeah, he pickles the thing.
At first, he almost looks sympathetic towards it, which is a weird position.
Like he came across like a dead cat or something. Yeah. Like, oh, and they're like, what?
And then he's jarred it, and you're like, oh, never mind. This is a little weirder.
These are the creatures that tortured you 2 years ago and tried to drag you to hell. Why are you so gentle with this thing?
Quite successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It was a really bizarre moment where I was a real head scratcher of I don't understand any of this motivation right now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
later on, Terry's dad, like I said, he used to be an airline pilot, but now he's a jobless drunk, and he comes home to celebrate getting a job.
Yeah.
And Terry's excited too until he finds out his dad is going to be just a baggage handler instead of a pilot.
Yeah, what's up with that? Shouldn't he be excited his dad's got a job at least?
I mean, he's trying, right?
Right.
Like, it's a real dick move by Terry.
I know. He was really like, oh, you're not a pilot. That's not cool. Like, oh,
Yeah.
man. What a jerk.
It's just like, yeah, it really is. It's kind of like a garbage kid.
He eventually came around like, oh, no, it's going to be good, Dad. Like, and then all of a sudden, like, the dad doesn't know what he's talking about. And all of a sudden, he is a pilot, which is like a weird...
Well, yeah, I was going to get into that in a bit. Yeah, but...
I'm curious, was that, like, his wish is still evolving? I didn't understand that because he didn't burn anything new that I knew of.
I'll explain right now.
Okay.
Because the minion is dead at the time. He's
Yeah.
waiting to be resuscitated. The bullet pops out and he heals. And then he escapes from the pickle jar that Terry put him in. And I will get into more how later on.
Right,
but anyway,
yeah.
the minion ends up in a bird cage. And it's once he has him in... Yes. Once he has him in the bird cage and he is his prisoner, he is obliged to grant his wishes. This is my putting pieces together. And that's why when Terry wakes up, his dad has now gotten rid of all the alcohol in the house, and he is a pilot again.
But I guess when he originally got killed, the gremlin or whatever, it got its wish then too? Because he got the job after that, but not the new version or whatever.
Maybe that was just his drunk... I think that was just how real life would have ended up if he never got a goblin.
Apparently this is where all the leprechaun logic comes from. Yeah, anyway... So, and he's very excited. I was like, wow, cool, yeah, throw all the alcohol away. Awesome, right? Things are coming up Millhouse.
Anyway, he one of the hoodlums that did the ceremony with him is a girl named Liz, and I'll get into more of her later.
Yeah.
She comes by the house, sees that the minion is alive, figures out what's going on with her dad, and starts coaxing Terry into doing more wishes. Terry's like, no, it's fragile. You got the balance. And she's like, yeah, cool. I'm just gonna burn this little effigy of the sun, and I'm gonna make the sun come out. And it does. And then they're like, okay, let's go on a wish casting shopping spree, which they do.
They're gonna binge.
She gets like a vintage red Corvette, and Terry gets like a leather jacket with a
I think
white
they're
scarf.
matching. They're matching leather jackets and white scarves.
Do they both have the white scarves?
Yep.
Okay. I just remember her already having a leather jacket, so I didn't think anything of her.
Sure
but Terry...
they're matching, if I remember correctly. Which is really weird when he has it again at the end of the movie. But I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Terry clearly has the hots for Liz.
Yes.
Which, fair. Very fair.
Yeah, I'm wondering, was she a heavy smoker, you think?
Pamela Adlon?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. She always sounded like that. She sounded like Bobby Hill at multiple times in this movie.
I don't think I think her voice got way more gravelier and deeper older on.
Well, yeah, of course.
For sure. That's what I would just say. Like, to me, I'm like, it's there. I can see the hint of it being there, but I think there's a night and day comparison to when she, she really blew up, I guess, more in Californication, and I guess if you liked Life with Louie.
Yeah, when she got into her 40s, she's like 23 here.
I know. It was kind of insane because I was like, wow, I know her. Where do I know her? And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, the voice alone, I would have thought.
Oh, the voice was the giveaway, mostly, yeah. Because I don't think I recognized her as much as quickly visually. I mean, you do see it there, but I mean at first, yeah.
Where am I? Sorry, I lost my space. There we go. So anyway, yeah, he's clearly got the hots for her. Yeah. And they have a heart-to-heart after having a great bonding session of getting anything they wanted in the world. And
he doesn't bond over that.
Terry asks Liz if she's in love with John, the other hoodlum bully. But what he really wants to know is if she's a virgin. He's not really subtle about it at all.
Nope.
And then he wonders out loud if there are guys who go their entire lives without doing it. Buddy.
Give it away there.
You trying for pity sex on the first night together? That's not a great move.
Yeah. Not quite, no.
Yeah. Anyway, the next morning, Terry wakes up and Liz calls, and she lets him know that all their wishes literally turned into shit. Poo-poo.
Yeah.
Caca.
Yeah. And they will graphically show all of it, which is fun to see a Corvette because you still see the former, like the poop license plate ish looking thing. Like they really show
it's like a pile of poo.
Yeah. And
then some of it is like painted to look like Corvette.
Right. Yeah. Which kind of fun to see. Some fun visuals with that.
It is so sophomoric.
Yeah.
It's like and all their wishes turn into poop. Like, oh God.
Goes to shit, man.
And like honestly, even at times I have to admit it did get me. It's like
well, immediately I started thinking like, wait a minute. So what turns to poop with his dad?
Well, that's what Terry thought. Sure enough, things have gone wrong with his father.
Right.
He is, I guess, really confusing though.
Yeah.
We don't get the full explanation of what happened.
No.
We just hear bits and pieces from conversations in the background or whatever. And his dad was flying.
Right.
But he never left the ground. And he was only in a cargo plane.
See, I didn't catch the not leaving the I knew
he said he never left the ground.
I knew the cargo plane part, and he was like shocked, like this guy didn't have qualifications or whatever, like he was so not able to do anything. It's amazing he got up there or something.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like, oh, so I guess it wasn't the air, but he's repeatedly hurt. Like like at one point he's like, my dad's going to die, which I was like, what?
Yeah, dude's in a coma.
Yeah.
And he's got like broken stuff and he's got a neck brace on. He looks really effed up.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I never really got the impression that he was going to die either, which was weird. And then, of course, by the end of the movie, fast recovery.
Really fast.
Really fast recovery.
Anyway, this helps Terry to realize this has all gone too far.
Yes.
And the only way to save his dad and everyone is to close the gate. Mm-hmm. So more demonology is the answer.
Yes, of course.
And he comes up with a spell and enchants his mom's old music box.
Yep. Which
he will put the minion in to close the gate. Okay.
Sure. He's read up. He's done his homework, Patrick.
Yeah.
It's all right there in the heavy metal albums.
Later on, him and Liz...
Although, to be fair, he's got a legit book. Sorry to interrupt. He's got like a legit book.
He's got
it's not heavy metal albums at this point.
No, he's got...
In the sequel.
he's got like a Book of the Dead, but looks like it's for dummies because of its size.
Yeah, and it looks like it's falling apart too.
Like it's large print Book of the Dead or something.
Large print for old people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On the way back from confronting transformed minion John, Terry and Liz.
Yeah.
Perry puts the final touches on the enchanted music box, which causes like a bright flash of light and a lot of smoke to fill up the car.
Yeah.
And Liz temporarily, rightfully so, loses control of the car before coming to a complete stop. And I love that they sit in silence and wait a beat, and then Terry's like, we should go. We should
oh yeah.
Better hurry, is what he says. Sorry.
Better hurry, yeah.
Better hurry.
It was so nonchalant, like whatever.
And she's like, yep, okay. I just thought that was a good bit.
There was another moment that kind of felt like Dano there a little bit in that.
Yeah,
moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
This deadpan delivery of like, better hurry. Yeah, let's go. I really thought it was funny. I made me laugh.
I agree. That's the weird thing about the character, because you have some moments where you're like, ugh, and then you have those moments where you're like, there's something here, oddly enough. But it's it's almost like there's parts where they allowed him to be more like his character in the first one.
Yeah, it's the same actor.
Yeah.
He's grown up, and was legit great in the first movie.
Yeah.
He's one of the highlights. He's
one of the fun parts
actor.
of that movie. And it's weird. So this sequel, like, there's only moments of here and there where they allow him to be like that version of him in the first one.
Yeah, when he's being that, like, he's being Terry, he's great. When he's being whiny teenager Terry, he's like,
when he's being Terrence.
Yeah, that's a good call. When he's being Terrence. Terrence sucks. Terry rules.
Terrence sucks. Terry's cool, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, through events we'll explain later, Terry somehow finds himself at a tower on the other side. Where now transformed minions, John and Mo, instruct Terry that he has been chosen to sacrifice the now bare midriff, Liz.
Yeah, she lost
on the altar
all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only like half of her shirt. Which I thought was really funny. I'm like, wow, all right, so we got some skin, but...
It's not ripped or anything. It's almost like she's just in a crop top now.
She was not in a crop top before, but all right, let's just go with it.
Quick wardrobe change. You missed it.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have to sacrifice the now bare midriff and unconscious Liz on the altar. Terry refuses, but begins to transform into a minion too.
Yeah.
And then Minion John tries to force Terry into killing Liz, just like he forced him into killing the hamster at the beginning of the movie. But through another series of events, which I'll explain in action, Terry successfully closes the gate, but it ends up killing him.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, what a dark, great ending. Yeah. Hell yeah. But wait.
Nope. There's more.
Turns out in the time between Terry dying and his funeral, like, Liz has been binge studying, hardcore studying,
pounding them books,
chewing caffeine, chewing coffee, whatever grounds, and studying demonology herself.
She's become a greater expert than Terrence.
Yeah, she's pretty freaking good at it.
And because she apparently learned how to do things without it turning to shit.
Yeah, she figures out a spell to bring him back to life, and Terry bursts out of his coffin during the funeral.
Which is
like
funny.
At the gravesite.
Yeah.
And is very excited to be alive.
Yeah.
He wants to know what his coffin is made of. Scares the shit out of everybody at the funeral. They all run away.
They all
Only
run.
one who are happy to see him are Liz, who was like, it worked. And his dad, who was like, okay.
Yeah. And it's insane.
And Liz tells Terry to shut up and kisses him, and the three of them walk away.
Laughing. Just like, ha ha ha. Like, it should be a very different movie ending. Like, it's like all of a sudden I just envision like almost like an 80s, like, everybody wants to, as they're walking off and laughing. It's like,
it feels like a Naked Gun level ending. Like the Zucker brothers came up with this. Like, screw it, everyone's alive. And we're all laughing.
Or Wayne's World. You want to do the happy ending? This is what they came up with. It's like, what? It is insane, by the way. I had such a feeling, and then that ending came up, and I was like, what is happening?
But, like, the same thing happens in the first movie, but it feels plausible and makes sense.
It still fits within tone, though, in the first movie.
Because all we ever saw were his sister and Terry getting dragged to hell. We don't see them actually die.
Right.
But they all get returned to life at the end of the movie after he closes the gate. You're like, okay, fine.
Sure.
This time is different. He is literally a corpse. We see his dead body. We are at his funeral.
And you see, too, like, again, like, she's clearly got the book and all this stuff in her hands. And, hey,
put something on the coffin.
She did some kind of spell here, right? Yeah. So, like, that's where I'm like, what kind of an expert did she become in, like, maybe the week or two here that has passed, if any, right?
A week tops, right?
Tops,
you got the wake and everything, yeah.
Right? And it's just like, what is going on? And then how does this not be turned into poop? Like, man, the only other way that ending could have been even more insane fun is if he just dissolves into poop, like, in the background.
Just flash forward to, like, the next day, and he's just a pile of shit.
Right, exactly. It's like, what? And, like, what's also insane is, for some odd reason, he was being buried in the leather jacket and scarf, which should have already turned to poop.
Yep.
So it's like, what?
Unless Unless they had... No, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. No, because they got that in the spending spree.
Unless they use money that turned into poop. So that one, the jacket
Maybe.
was real?
Oh, because everything else they purchased turned to poop.
Unless they didn't purchase that, they wished for that. We don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because almost everything was in the car trunk, and then you see it all dissolved into poop.
Because the food that they ate at the restaurant later on, John and Mo, doesn't turn into poop. See what I'm saying? This is the logic of it.
Although that's what I thought was happening when he was running to the bathroom at first.
Incredible. That would have been really something. So that's all I can say about our hero at the moment.
Yeah, that basically
There's
wraps
so much
it
more
up.
to get into.
There really
is. What did you give him?
So it's weird because again, like I want to give Terry points, but I don't want to give Terrence too many points.
Yeah,
it's kind of where I went with it. So I went 2.5.
I had the same score.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's times where it's there, like, man, if we just got this version of the character all the way through, awesome. But there was just too much Terrence.
So villain.
Yeah, I don't have like a whole lot here. I guess my debate and dilemma there was, I guess Mo and John have to be put into villain, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, that definitely lengthens it, because otherwise it's like you're just talking about the demons, which is really mostly a minion the whole time.
Yeah, the demons are barely in this movie as opposed to the first movie.
Yeah, because the gist you find out eventually, right, is that the gate really it comes through the humans, like almost possession style.
This time.
Yeah, at least, right? And so they like have to so you do get them, John and Mo do get possessed, so you do get the demon forms eventually, but very short towards the end. So really it's mostly all just bullies, just teenage bullies is basically the main villain with some demon backdrop.
Yeah.
And Mo is
You're starting with Mo, huh?
well, I just want, not really. I just want to do this quick, right? So Mo is like a weird Three Stooges kind of reject, right? Even with the name and everything, right?
Okay.
And then John, it's like it is the worst, and I know obviously this comes later, but this is like the worst stereotype acting of what Mark Wahlberg is theoretically supposed to be at times.
Oh. Yeah. No, it's like he's doing a Wahlberg impression.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I hear you.
Of the stereotype of Wahlberg. You know what I mean?
Yes. Andy Samberg doing Wahlberg.
Exactly, on SNL. Like
Right.
there are moments of it where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like me.
It's not written well, and it's not performed well.
Right. It's like me and you trying to do Mark Wahlberg in Transformers at times. You know what I mean? I think we got to transform it. Like, I know it's not actually what it looks like in the trailer, but that's how we joke about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like happens sometimes from John in this movie, where I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. John sucks.
Yeah, real bad.
The demons are the real bad guys, but the
Right.
bad guy we spend the most time with is John.
Yes.
He's a local punk. I'm not sure if he actually goes to school or not, or what his age is.
I think so, because when everyone's at school, he's hanging out his friend's job. Mo has a job, which John makes fun of. But I don't know what the hell John does.
All John does is bully people and smoke weed and cruise around town with his friend Mo and girlfriend Liz.
In his beat-up car that I have no idea how he enforces the insurance on or anything. Like, I don't.
Yeah, our sidekick friend Mo, he's got a heart condition and just like the most annoying laugh on the planet.
Yeah.
But he has one of my favorite lines of the whole movie too. Mo.
What's that?
Hot nacho cheese, mother of Christ!
Don't even remember that one.
It happens early on during the ritual, and something happens or whatever.
Oh yeah, because he's the one that's mostly yelling, I feel like, in the ritual.
Yeah. And yeah. Hot nacho cheese, mother of Christ was one I had to pause and rewind. Like, say it again for me. I need to hear it.
It is nuts. And yeah, he's another character where it's like sometimes it's kind of similar to our hero. There's moments where I'm like, I kind of digging what Mo is doing here.
He has some kind of conscience,
right?
It seems.
Well, he has some kind of conscience, but there's also like when he becomes the demon.
Oh yeah,
and he comes back and he's normal looking, and there's stuff he's doing there. I'm like, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah, Simon Reynolds, the guy playing Mo, is much better than our actor character John.
Yeah, but it's weird because they don't always have enough fun with it, so he has to kind of be the dopey going along with it bully guy, and he comes off way too, I don't know, over the top. They both are over the top, but he's like,
his job is basically to laugh in the background.
John, I don't know, like he's kind of like that.
Yeah, most of the time he's just laughing in the background while John's bullying somebody.
Right.
Excuse me.
So when they allow him to do something and it's very little, it's like, okay, there was something here I would have liked to get out of if you had more capable hands.
More of this,
here.
please.
Yeah. But John is just there.
Yeah, so John and his crew run into Terry during the ritual at Glenn's old house.
Can I say there is one line from John that
I'm sure we're gonna get into it.
Okay, fine, go.
I think I already know what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Too.
Was it when he gets his name wrong? Is it that line?
I wasn't gonna quote it because of what he says.
Because it's a vulgar. Yeah,
there's a gay slur involved, but
sure.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I definitely wrote it down.
I cackled. I thought it's horrible and offensive, but the delivery was pitch perfect. Actually, I have to give John, the actor for John, there credit for that one because he nailed that one line and it was hilarious and I laughed.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So John and his crew run into Terry doing the ritual at Glenn's old house. You get the impression they use the house as a place to drink beer or whatever.
Right.
John is really put out that Liz is into the demonology thing and bummed that he's missing out on a bullying opportunity.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to be there because he's like, let's go. I'd rather be cruising.
Yeah.
And it's kind of Liz and Mo that are like, yeah, let's go for it. And like John's like, I'm really not down for this at all. Which I have to say, like, there's later on, like, where like Terry or Terrence is calling him a jerk or whatever, and more vulgar words. It's like, hey, I didn't do any of this. I didn't want to do any of this. You were actually the jerk. And I'm like, John, you're actually correct, dude. In that one moment, you were correct.
Well, yeah, but it looks like there's a scene during the ritual. Terry looks like he's about to back out of killing the hamster. He's like, I don't actually want to do this.
True.
And John's like, oh, wait, an opportunity to bully. I'm in again.
Yeah.
And he grabs Terry's hand and forces him to kill the hamster.
That he does.
With
true.
the knife. Yeah. Which then the ritual is completed, or I guess, or whatever.
Right, because he was going to back out there, yeah.
And there's a scene after that I will get into later in action, but after it's all said and done, Terry is pissed at John for shooting the minion that gets summoned, and John is pissed at Terry because he thinks he just saved everyone.
This is where...
Yeah, and
in that moment, by the way, and maybe this should be an action, but in that moment where he shoots the minion, that's where you needed Stephen Dorff. That is where you needed Stephen Dorff. Just saying. Blade. Nice shot.
Yeah, there you go.
Love that moment.
He then forces Terry to admit he's an asshole at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And Liz is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like a long, hard look from the camera, like, I'm sad. I don't like how this is going. Later on, you got John bullying Mo into smoking pot at work.
Yeah.
Which made me laugh too. And they admit their ritual wishes to each other. John wants to be king of the world, and Mo wants to be abducted by aliens.
To fix his heart, too.
That came later on in his explanation of what he wants from the aliens. He's like,
right.
Yeah, I want to be abducted. I want to see the universe. I want to see it. And if it could fix my heart, that'd be cool.
I guess they technically got what they wanted, right? I guess demons instead of aliens. King of the world. The demon was supposed to be the rulers of this world before they got sent here. Maybe.
Having never seen this movie before and only seeing like the trailer once, maybe when I was a kid or whatever, I was massively disappointed that my man didn't get this. Didn't turn into like, Wishmaster, your wish is granted. Horrible wish came true.
Yeah.
He's abducted by aliens, and he's like, he suddenly becomes fire in the sky. He's like, no.
I was
that would have
made
me laugh.
I did
right?
want to see that, but I was trying to be like, okay, I guess in a way, in demon logic, they technically got their wish, but yeah, it was weird. It was a little disappointing. Yeah.
Anyway, John confronts Liz about her hanging out with Terry.
Yeah, I did not like to see them hanging out on their shopping spree.
And this is where he forgets his name.
Yes, I love that line.
He's
I guess
like,
we're not.
You were hanging out with what's his name, and Mo says Larry, and she's like, no, it's Terrence. And he's like, oh, Terrence. I'm sorry. He has a gay slur's name. And
not an a-hole's name.
Yeah.
But it's weird because you don't want to really repeat the horrible gay slur and stuff.
I'd rather not.
No, and I get what you're saying, and granted, but it was actually insanely well.
It's like his one well delivered line.
Exactly,
in the whole movie.
It really is. That's it.
That's why it kind of wakes you up. Like, oh, whoa, what's that?
Where did that come from? Because that was good.
But he follows that up later on after this whole spiel is done. Because this character sucks.
It really does. But also
and
that moment,
the actor is bad.
Wahlberg,
and it really
the best part of
amplifies
Wahlberg comes out.
How terrible all this is. But then after this is all said and done, he has another truly terrible line that he delivers terribly. Who needs demons when you've got chicks?
And there's a callback to it later. Oh my gosh!
Sure is, Tim. Anyway, they decide they haven't had enough fun with bullying Terry.
Yeah.
Now that he's got answers out of Liz, so
they
start
destroy his house.
Even before that, he decides to punch him in the face a couple times, or whatever. Like he sucker punches him too.
They destroyed his house, to be fair, and then they stay around to punch him in the face, and then he goes into the house to discover that they trashed him.
You're right. But it's just like you're twice the size of him, and you have to sucker punch him. Like,
what's the point of this? Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You suck.
and to be like, they totaled the house.
They really did.
This is like, these guys need to be arrested. Like, this is something else. This is not just simple bullying. Like, that's over the top.
On top of that, they steal the minion.
Yeah.
And I will get into all the
action.
hijinks they get involved in that in action.
Yeah.
But eventually they get the minion under control. And they force it to... which is a ton of money.
Yeah.
And they use the money to go to a fancy restaurant where they're forced to wear jackets and bow ties.
And they do it in classy fashion, I guess.
Yeah, and they eat escargot, and I think goat?
I think I remember hearing that, yeah. And
someone mentioned something about a goat.
They no idea what to do with them, but they have so much money, so they keep allowing them to be there.
Yeah, and they're just flashing big stacks.
Yeah. And
the minion escapes from the trunk of the car after they're done eating, and almost immediately the money turns into poo.
Yeah.
And John is transformed into a super strong pus monster. And Mo is horrified to realize that his pocket full of money is now a pocket full of poop.
Yeah. Although I guess he will continue to evolve, John, as we go through the movie.
Yes. Yeah. The pus monster is just the first stage.
Yeah. And we'll talk about how that looks later, too. Yeah.
Mo goes to Terry and Liz for help with John, who eventually transformed into a 10-foot tall black crusty minion.
Yeah.
Who is happy to go live on the other side. It's not that bad. Mo has a heart attack and falls and is dead. Not sure which killed him, the heart or the fall. But he's dead.
There was also, it almost looked like there were changes happening to him too.
It seemed like he had some welts, but mostly just the scratches.
There was mostly cuts. It wasn't
nearly as.
But there were some welts things, and you could see him having some issues. So it's I don't know, chicken or egg, what's going on there. But regardless, he's dead.
Yeah. But Minion John picks him up and carries him away.
Jumps away, yeah.
But then, Terry and Liz when they get to Glenn's house, Mo is there, and he's alive.
Yeah. And some of the best work he does in the movie is in that one little scene.
He's slick and evil. He's like Al Pacino in
Devil's Advocate or something?
Devil's Advocate? Yeah. He's like, hey. And then he eventually, after he's done with his little evil spiel, he reveals himself to also be turned into a minion, I guess. Although he doesn't look as minion-y. He looks more
full
like
on demon, but he's not the big gargantuan as John got.
No, he's regularly human sized, but he doesn't also have like the same bone structure as the minions do.
Yeah,
he seems to just be like round face, but crusty like John is.
Yeah, not as cool looking, to be frank. And actually, it's worse every time in makeup they have him talk. It's like, oh, let's not do the talking. They looked a lot better without the talking.
Yeah. Let's see. And the minion itself, we should talk about real quick. It's the same ugly little goblin from the first movie.
Yeah, which there used a bunch of them in the first movie.
He used to have a dozen of them. Now it's just the one guy. He lost all his friends.
Having a blast, though.
Oh,
this villain.
I love the minion when he's on the bird swing. And he's...
How amazing
I laughed
is that?
so hard.
It is. I was like, this is hilarious and somehow adorable.
Yes. The minion gets put into a bird cage, and there's a swing there.
Like a Tweety bird cage. Like stereotypical old school bird cage.
And he's standing on it and swinging, just like having a good time.
Just like Tweety bird, but it's a little minion demon.
Yeah.
And
these things are
fun
what,
to
like
look at.
12 inches?
Maybe.
Tall, I would say?
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, in the end, just like Terry, Mo and John crawl out of Terry's coffin.
Yeah.
And they are also pumped to be alive.
They are. And it's insanely weird that they came back to life as well. An unintended consequence, maybe, of her spell. I don't know. It didn't make it... Because you don't get their bodies at the end of the movie. You know, you get Terrence's body. You see his dead body.
Yeah,
You do not get John.
Liz gets transported back to like Earth realm or whatever, and
right.
Terry's dead body is there. You don't see any other bodies.
Yeah,
right.
John, Mo, not there, and all of a sudden they're back, looking the way they looked just before, and then they say some kind of line, seeing them walk away, and they do the reverse of the line from the callback.
John says, "Demons, man. Who needs chicks when you've got demons?" Guess they enjoyed the rush of dying and becoming demons?
I guess in a really horrific way, by the way. They did not make good ends in this movie. So it's like, so that's where I was confused. It's like, did they, for some odd reason, like the rush and they want more? They're making some weird, sick joke? Or is it the demons are back in human form?
I feel like we've thought about this more than the original writer and director.
Yeah. I really feel like that must have been like people thought it, screen tested it, thought it was a bummer. We're bringing guys back for reshoot just to do this scene. And that's it.
Feels like it, but I was getting into this later. The studio that originally released the first movie and produced this one ran out of money. Mm-hmm. And they had to have somebody else end up releasing it a couple years later, which is why it was filmed and ready by 1990. It didn't get released till 1992.
Okay.
So I don't think this movie ever had reshoots.
Okay.
I don't think they had the money for it or anything like that.
I
think this was the plan, just to copy the original movie.
It just seemed like a reshoot ending. It's really out of place.
Well, yeah, it's weird. Yeah. So what'd you give Villains?
I give it a 1.
Yeah. I gave it a 2.
I didn't think there was enough here. Like, it's like you don't really get the demons, and when you do get the demons, they're not great.
I'm going to bring it down to 1.5.
Yeah, like it's just, and again, you have like 1 or 2 cool deliveries from John and Mo, and then that's about it. So I was like, ugh.
Yeah, all right. For just a couple of good deliveries, go to 1.5.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Action stunts.
Yeah. So he has to kill a gerbil. I guess it's kind of where we start with action, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, after the ritual is completed, black goo surrounds the ritual circle.
Yeah.
The
demons there in the circle kind of going like, hey, what's going on here?
Terry warns them not to get any of the goo on them. But, of course, John gets some on his shoe, which he tries to kick off. And the goo ends up in Gate Minion's face.
Yeah.
He's like, ah! And then he makes a noise when he gets hit in the face with the goo. John notices, like, what the hell? And he shoots it. And the minion goes flying across the room.
And it is pinpoint accuracy in this little thing.
He's
Dead center mass. Yeah. He gets shot. And it's an impressive shot.
Feels very Gremlins-y.
Yeah.
Which they refer to it as a gremlin at times. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Really, guys? Okay. Then the next bit is the minion has healed and escaped his pickle jar, and he's leaving adorable footprints all over Terry's unfinished basement bedroom.
Yeah, it almost starts off kind of cool, like because you just hear the glass breaking or whatever. Right. It's like, oh, okay, like sound wise, it's cool. But yeah, when you see these little footprints everywhere, then it gets dopey pretty quick.
I don't know. First off, I was like, oh, look at the little footprint. It's adorable.
Yeah, of course you did. You must have laughed when he puts on the full hockey gear.
Well, Terry is a good Canadian boy, so of course he has a hockey stick and pads ready to go for this eventuality.
All geared up. And
Terry legit does like a street hockey face-off moment with the demon before he decides the fight starts. Where he knocks the floor like 3 times, like, let's go. And he slap shots the demon across the room into the television
with sound effects and everything, with the demon like making like, oh, like
yeah. Then he grabs like a little trash can, puts it over the demon, smacks the trash can over and over again, getting concussed. Then grabs the demon and puts it in the bird cage, which used to be the hamster cage, but.
Is that what it was?
Anymore.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because it right before he grabs the hockey stick, you can see him taking the hamster stuff out of the bird cage.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Because at first I thought, like, is he going to try to beat up the demon with, like, the little...
I thought he was going to put, like, a hamster wheel in the bird cage is what I thought at first. I thought I was like, oh, please tell me he's going to do all sorts of fun things for him in that bird cage, and we're going to see the little minion in the hamster wheel and such. But no, we got the bird swing, which was also good. But yeah, parts of this is obviously silly, but kind of fun, and then parts of it just it's better when they don't directly interact.
The biggest issue with this movie is that it's taken all of the teeth out of the original. Like the minions are immediately not scary.
Yeah,
like the bigger you are, the less scary these minions are. And it just keeps on hammering home how unscary they are for a really long time. And when they try to show their teeth again, you're just like, eh.
Although, to be fair, in the car sequence with John and Mo...
Right, which where they try to show it again, you're like, this is fun, but it's like... I'm not scared of this thing. It made me laugh when it was on a bird swing a minute ago.
Yeah, it was kind of more like because John and Mo are so dopey, like you can kind of excuse it away why they're having such a really bad, rough time trying to stop this thing. So is it that scary to our main characters, our heroes? Probably not, because they're not as dumb and dopey as John and Mo. So it kind of takes the teeth, no pun intended, out of that sequence with the car.
Yeah. The next scare scene is a fairly obvious nightmare, with Terry waking up with Liz flying coach to, I guess, Paris, which really, my dude, you couldn't even dream first class.
Yeah, I guess because they were just talking about it, right? Yeah.
Right, no, but they were like, I had all the money in the world, and he dreams coach.
Yeah.
Terry seems to know this is a dream, too, because he immediately goes to the cockpit, and he knows his dad is there.
Yeah.
And his dad is blitzed and crashing their plane, and that's when Terry wakes up to the call from Liz that all their wishes have turned to shit.
And the dad is like embodying very much the game show type dude from RoboCop. You know,
I'll buy that for a dime.
Exactly. That's the energy his dad is.
It's the level 1 hinge Terry's dad has become. Yeah.
After that, are we at the car thing at that point?
Yeah, we're at the car scene. Yeah. John and Mo trash Terry's house and steal the minion as revenge for Terry making time with John's girl Liz. They put the minion in a little sack, And Mo decides it
try
would
to
be
get
funny.
it high, right? Yeah.
Well, they're getting high in the car, and Mo decides it would be funny if he blows some marijuana smoke into the sack with the minion. For some reason, this drives the minion insane.
Yeah.
And
It
gives
turns
him,
into
like-
the Tasmanian devil, basically.
Yeah. He tears through the sack and starts like clawing and biting Mo.
Yeah.
And then the minion jumps to John and starts clawing and biting him.
And it really seems to be messing John up there for a little bit.
Yeah, they're screaming a lot.
Yeah.
And John loses control of the car. Mo takes the wheel from the back seat. And then John holds down the minion.
And
This little
starts
12-inch minion.
punching
He
it.
starts punching it like a half a dozen times at least.
Like in its face somehow is landing
Yeah.
his fist on this little minion's face.
Yeah.
And then Mo makes a bizarre choice. As John has control,
Yeah,
punching
go on.
this thing in the face,
Yeah.
Mo takes a fire extinguisher and just starts blowing it at John.
Where'd the fire extinguisher come from, Tim?
I don't know.
It wasn't there a minute ago.
It wasn't. I don't know why it would be in your by the front seat or whatever in the car, because Mo's trying to drive the car after all the chaos that John got into.
All of a sudden, he's like holding it in his teeth or something. I was like, what?
and,
Where the fuck did this come from?
It's also happening right next to you, Mo. How are you hitting John with the fire extinguisher the whole time? It was a baffling moment.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think I think there's some like ADR like after the fact in there where like, John, the minion was biting John like his hand that was holding it down or something like that. There's just blood to believe. I don't know. But yeah, it's weird. It's so weird.
Very bizarre.
It starts off being okay, like, oh, is one of their like throats gonna be ripped out or something like that?
Yeah.
It's like he's gonna get there. That never does, because the minion just isn't scary in this movie.
Yeah, again, it just turns more into how dopey and fun to laugh at John and Mo are.
Yeah.
You stupid, dumb bullies, basically.
Next bit of action I have is Terry and Liz in the back at Glenn's house. Do you have anything before that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, just the bathroom stuff is kind of the next stuff I had.
Oh, well, talk about that. Go on.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even bother to write that one down.
I thought there was some cool stuff with that, because you see, horror-wise at least, you got a little bit of body horror going on here.
Yep,
Right,
my man's
so-
getting pussy.
Yeah, so he's like, all of a sudden he's not looking good, he's not feeling too well, so I'm immediately thinking it's because...
I told you to take it easy with the béarnaise sauce, man.
Yeah, I thought everything was going to be turning to poop inside him or something, and that's what he was I really was thinking that was going to happen. But then he starts like touching something in the back of his head. Clearly they're all cut up and marked up, and you start to see the pus and stuff, and he starts to get pimply looking and all that kind of stuff. And so all of a sudden he's like, I got to go to the bathroom, and he's running into the bathroom, and he puts himself in the stall, and he starts like freaking out in there, and you're seeing more pus, and you see him start to visually get like, it really does look, I think, pretty decent. Like it's starting to look like halfway The Fly-ish looking.
Yeah,
the way
you're
he's
right.
looking, like it looks pretty. I thought it looked pretty gnarly at times the way he's looking. And I think probably since they probably couldn't get it to Cronenberg level, that I thought it was good that they didn't dwell too long on exactly what he looked like. So it was always kind of quick cuts, but enough to be like, all right, this looks kind of gross, but never dwelled on too long to kind of see the flaws. So I thought that was kind of nice. And you start to see like stuff kind of like almost skin almost looking like it's coming off of him and stuff like so.
Yeah.
And like someone's coming to check on him. Like I thought all of that was like pretty fairly good horror type stuff. Like I actually thought that was all nice. And then eventually there wasn't enough of a pay through or follow through with it, because eventually he just like randomly bursts
Like a
through
Looney
the wall.
Tunes character.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes his move, because even later on in like the steel mill-ish whatever factory place, you see another wall that
Warehouse.
he bursts through or whatever, and it's like, okay, I guess it's his thing now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
next
that's
time we
what I had.
actually see John, he is a 10-foot minion,
Yes.
except like black and crusty. But then, like, the next bit, I didn't even bother writing up anything in the warehouse either. I don't know if you did.
No, because there's nothing really there. It's just Mo dies and like John's running around a little bit, but yeah, that's all you kind of get. He kind of looks like the big one, just not as
at
crusty.
the end of the first movie.
At the end of the first movie, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, when Terry and Liz get back to Glenn's house to enact the spell to close the gate, they spot the minion, which bites the hell out of Terry's hand.
Yeah.
But they are able. Terry and Liz are able to trap the minion in the music box, and then right after that, Liz gets grabbed by something from the ceiling, presumably Minion John. Not really sure.
That's what I assumed myself.
And then Terry is pushed into the gate hole by Mo. And Terry comes to because he kind of passes out. He's looking up from the bottom of the grave. And when he gets out of the grave, he's in boring other side Phantasm Desert. It really looks like the alien planet in Phantasm.
A little bit. I mean, it's they show you a glimpse of it too in the beginning.
Yeah.
A little bit when they're doing the first spell or whatever like that. So you got some flashes of it there, and here we are again. And that when you're in the weird kind of desert stuff, it's probably the best it looks because once he starts like climbing the tower thing, it looks rough.
How did he get to that tower? I don't know. He's just on the tower all of a sudden.
Yeah, but it looks rough. Doesn't look great.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
Nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah.
Like you said, Terry somehow finds himself on a tower.
Yeah.
On the other side, where minions John and Mo instruct Terry that he has been chosen to sacrifice the now bare midriff and unconscious Liz on the altar.
And they were able to get his purple robe from earlier somehow.
Yeah, that's right.
So here you go again.
So Terry refuses to kill Liz, even though he's transforming into a minion himself.
Yeah, which again I think is some halfway decent effects, like some pretty decent makeup.
Yeah, they give him some weird hands and throw a bald cap on him with some weird hair sticking out in places.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah,
I've seen worse.
And then Minion John tries to force Terry into killing Liz like he did the hamster, like grabbing his hand to go do it.
Right, it looks like he's about to do it until the music box falls over.
Well, no. That's how it happened. Before that, Liz wakes up and tries to whack Minion John with the music box, but she's quickly taken down with the aid of a now fully transformed Minion Terry. And I think fully transformed Minion Terry looks cool.
Yeah.
And as Liz is about to be sacrificed, the mini minion, our OG minion, finally escapes the music box, which triggers the music. And my man has got a backache.
Yeah, and he's like...
He's literally stretching. He's like, oh. Apparently being trapped in an enchanted music box is rough on the lower back.
It's rough. I mean, he's so small, he should have tons of room in there, but whatever, right? And it's weird too because he ends up pulling out some of the effects, which I'm really curious about the pilot wings, but anyway, pulls out the pilot wings and all that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden he remembers his humanity and such.
Like, here's the music too from the music box. It's like, triggering. And he's like, all right, I got to do what I got to do. And he grabs the minion. First off, he throws the sacrificial dagger, into the forehead of Minion John.
Yes.
Which I guess kills him.
I guess.
Because he falls down and he does not get up.
Yeah, and they look very mad about him.
Minion Mo is distraught and runs over to Minion John's body.
Yeah.
Then Minion Terry grabs the minion, puts him into the music box, and throws him into the gate, which is below this giant tower. Which
was weird to me, because I'm like, so where does that gate go to? Because I would have thought that gate just brings you back to where they were. Is it in a one-way
Doesn't make
thing?
any sense.
Okay, I don't know. Yep, okay. Just want to make sure. Okay.
Doesn't.
Not missing anything. Clearly not missing anything. Okay.
Nope. There's nothing there.
Dum.
There's nothing there. Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, after the music box go through, some like weird light flashes pop out and hit John and Terry, and they disappear, and Mo. And then all of a sudden, Liz is somehow transported back to Earth. where she wakes up next to the body of Terry, who's now in a blue robe.
I don't even remember.
The robe is now blue?
There was some weird flashing lights that all of a sudden takes them into the gate, whatever that weirdness.
But yeah,
And
Terry
then-
is clearly dead and his body
Yeah.
looks messed up.
Totally, yeah. Yeah. He's very much dead. And she's
And
like
that-
sobbing, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is the end of the action
Yep.
of this movie, which I gave a very, very generous 2.5, because a lot of it made me laugh.
I agree.
And it's probably because you gave it 2.5.
I gave it 2.5.
Listen, we're really laughing at it, but it's so
Yeah.
damn funny.
Yeah,
Like,
its comedic parts do work. And really, I really felt like as much as seriousness goes, the only real part that worked was the body horror transformation scene that I kind of dug that part.
Yeah.
But that's about it. But yeah, there were some at least things that like I thought was worthy of a 2.5.
yeah. Nothing as good as like that's in the first movie.
Oh, for sure not. For sure not. Like I even like as your favorite part, the dude falling and then turning into a bunch of minions. Or,
Yeah, I love that.
that eye in Stephen Dorff's hand and such.
Yeah, great stuff.
It's weird. That's why I'm like it's like it feels like both movies were influenced by different types of horror genres almost, or different things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the first one seemed very, I don't know, influenced by like Labyrinth and Monster Squad and things of that nature. And then I feel like maybe even a little bit of Evil Dead-ish. And then I feel like this one was like Evil Dead and like The Fly and like a little, I don't know, it's like slightly different. It's hard to pinpoint exactly.
More like Evil Dead 2 and The Fly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But like not as good as what Sam Raimi obviously achieved.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt. So Sidekick.
2.5. We both got 2.5. Yeah,
2.5,
Sidekick.
Yeah.
Pamela Adlon as Liz.
Yeah.
Hottie.
I
always
am
has.
impressed.
Always will be, apparently.
Yeah.
Always been had a thing for Pamela Adlon.
I did too. I as well. Yeah. It's so weird the way she aged, but it's all right. And it's like again, her voice is almost there. It's not quite. It's gonna be as gravelly and all that kind of stuff, but still a little. She doesn't look as little in this movie. She always looks so much little compared to like her co-stars in later things, but.
When she's like standing next to like 6 foot whatever David Duchovny versus however tall this little kid is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different story.
Exactly.
Yeah, but she's got like, she's younger. She's like 23 years old. She doesn't have like the sharp cheeks that she kind of has now. She looks kind of not look fat, but she has she got the baby fat in her face.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Right.
Kind of like how Reese Witherspoon used to be.
Right. She's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Gorgeous then, gorgeous now.
Yeah.
I think she's about like 23 years old in this movie.
Yeah.
So like she's got almost a decade on our lead actor, who she has to kiss at the end of the movie, which I'm sure she did not enjoy.
Yeah. It didn't look too off, to be honest. Like I didn't think he looked insanely young.
They both could pass as teenagers. Like,
Yeah,
he is
of
a teenager
different
in real
different
life.
grades, right? Like there is such an
absolutely.
age gap or visual like appearance gap looking at underclassmen to upperclassmen. So to
In
me,
the 80s, they look like they could have gone to the same school in a movie.
yeah, I kind of saw it. That was definitely
the 90s. Even though I
not
liked
my
the 50s
problem
too.
educational wise with this movie. I did have an issue though at one point.
You want to talk about the detention?
What was up with that? This kid spaces out for like a minute or whatever, and that she comes to from spacing out and immediately gets sent to detention. And this is an honor roll kid who's never done anything wrong, apparently, because the detention person's like, "We never seen you before," kind of deal.
We don't get honor roll students in here.
Yeah. And like he got sent to detention for spacing out in class. Like, this is a horrible teacher. Like, what kind of militant jerk is this?
They have tougher teachers in Canada, Tim.
Ah, that is some BS, man. That's the kind of teacher that's like sending, writing like detention slips for people who don't have a pencil in class. Like, you need to get a grip and get sent for some teaching lessons yourself. Like, anyway, that was my soapbox.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, Pamela Adlon plays Liz.
Has a fascination with demonology.
Yeah, she's into it.
Seems to already know some stuff herself.
Yeah, she reunites with Liz in detention after the ritual.
Yeah.
And she's really excited to see him again. Changes her seat and sneaks over to talk to him. Wants to discuss more demonology.
And you find out her wish was true love.
She wants to meet her true love.
Right.
So,
which is it's really weird because she's very non-committal about things. She gives John a lot of cold shoulder going forward. Straight up ignores him at one point, even though he didn't really do anything immediately to get ignored when she's like walking down the street or whatever, right? And then like she's like, "You do mean John, right?" And it's like, yeah, but like she's never one way or the other through a lot of the movie. And then later, like, "Oh, he's just a friend," like whatever. And it's like, man,
yeah, don't worry, John. No, he's just a friend. Terry's just a friend. It's only you, baby.
Yeah, and she's very like I'm not gonna date that. Like she doesn't actually say like I'm not gonna date that geek, but it kind of gives off that energy in her response,
which would have been fair,
right? But it's just like it's weird because it's so I guess non-committal, right? It's just kind of all over the place a little bit.
Yeah, because she's making out with Terry at the end of the movie. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Apparently, she's able to connect with Terry, not just with demonology, but having parents in the hospital. Apparently, her dad died slowly of cancer over a 6-month period in the hospital, and encourages Terry to hold his hand. It'll help. It makes it easier.
It was a weird scene.
Yeah.
I don't know who was more awkward with it, but there was something off with that scene. It just felt weird.
It's just, I don't think it's just a well-written scene.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I wanted him to snap, like, I don't want to touch his hand.
Yeah. My favorite bit for her is Liz and Terry entering Glenn's old house, and at the end of the movie, and then Terry knocks over a bunch of wood while doing it, and Liz like deadpan staring at the camera like, so much for sneaking in.
Oh yeah.
But the way she delivers it is like anybody else would have blew, the lines of whatever, nothing. It's like, haha, whatever. She does it in a way it's like genuinely funny.
She knows how to deliver sarcasm really well, and always has in her in everything I've ever seen her in. So that was like the most like of her I knew right there in that moment. Like, yeah,
100%.
That's my girl.
Yeah. And after Liz's return to Earth, we cut to her and Terry's dad at Terry's funeral.
And they've become fast friends.
They are apparently on hugging terms.
Right. Within that week or whatever, they have bonded.
But as we mentioned, Liz has cast a spell that brings Terry back and everyone else that died in the movie. They all take turns popping out of Terry's coffin.
Yeah. Again, impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
And we've already discussed Liz and other stuff in other sections.
Yeah, it's kind of hard
anything
not
else
to talk
mention
about
for
her.
Liz, but she's. I gave her also a 2.5. She adds to the movie, and is helpful.
Yeah,
and
she also leads to some issues too. She definitely promotes a lot of it too at the same time.
Right.
But then also is weirdly talking him out of it at other points. So again, very non-committal. It goes both ways where she's promoting it or saying no. So that does get annoying, but obviously is capable to. I don't know. I had a weird. I wish there was more moments like the sarcastic moment of sneaking in part. I actually
definitely gone for more Pamela Adlon in this movie.
I actually only went 2. Like I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't think there was enough for a whole half a point there. But
All right.
I think I went in all 8.5 was my final score.
I gave it a 9. I'm okay with bringing it down to 8.5 though.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like
listen.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
No.
But I have watched The Gate multiple times. I will never watch The Gate 2 again.
Right.
just because it's just fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing I want to revisit.
I think in all, it's probably it's better movie than Pet Sematary 2. Like there's more things throughout, but at the same time, there's nothing in The Gate 2 that's as good as Clancy Brown's performance in Pet Sematary 2.
Definitely not.
So it's kind of like this weird thing. Like, it's like, just need to watch Pet Sematary 2 for Clancy Brown, and that's it. And like, The Gate's got some fun things throughout. I'm sure neither of these movies are going to go end very high, but I thought, yeah, with 8.5, it would put it over Pet Sematary 2.
Yeah. Okay.
If that seems fair to you.
Fine with me.
Oh, by the way, it's not just The Gate 2. It's The Gate 2 Trespassers.
The Trespassers, which is a weird-ass name. Doesn't make any sense.
Nope. Because they don't really trespass. They get invited into the other side. Unless they're calling the demons the Trespassers. But they also got invited.
Yeah, I get it. Let's see. Oh yeah, and at the end of the movie, there's an MCU style
because I
post-credit
missed
scene.
this. That's right.
The hamster pops out of Terry's coffin too.
Ha! So
everybody lives.
Everybody comes back.
Yeah,
that is funny. I missed that. I after the who needs chicks, we got demons line. I was kind of like, the credits came, I was like, all right, yep, I'm done. Did not think to stay around for that. How long did you have to stick around for that?
I fast forwarded because I knew something was popping up.
Oh, you already like read up on it?
Yeah, I happened to check something on Wikipedia. I was looking for facts or whatever that was available on Wikipedia, and I saw the plot, and I was like, at the end, it's like, oh, what? Oh, okay.
What the? What is this?
But yeah, there's the hamster. I forgot to mention this. I guess they're trying to pad out the runtime with some of the most dull opening credits I've seen in a movie in some time. Just like a black background with purple text. I'm like, that's it?
Yeah.
And it lasts forever. Like, damn.
It does. It does kind of go on for a little bit.
So this had a budget of $6.5 million, which is a little over $14 million today.
Okay.
Stop motion creatures and little people in suits cost money, Tim.
I'd imagine, yeah.
This had a worldwide gross of $2.03.2 million. A little under $4.5 million today. It opened at number 15 at the U.S. box office on its opening weekend.
All right. I was expecting lower, to be honest.
Yeah. The number one at the movie theaters that weekend was Wayne's World in its third week of release.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The other big opening movie of that week was Chevy Chase's Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Hey, that's a weird classic of ours.
It is. You and I are defenders of this movie.
I have not seen this since I was a kid, so I have no idea if there's anything
it's
behind
good call.
that.
Yeah, we might have just liked Chevy Chase and not
exactly.
Yeah, good call. So that's all I have for Gate 2.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's all I got.
All right.
It was definitely an interesting movie, and not quite what I was expecting.
Very different.
Yeah.
So next week.
Yeah, what's your pick?
Well, I had something all picked out, but the streaming services dropped it.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to delay it, and hopefully it'll come back next month. So we are going to watch a movie that I have been dying to watch for years, and it kind of the trailers kind of freaked me out as a kid, so I never got around to watching it until now. Dr. Giggles.
Dr. Giggles. I was wondering when you were going to pull that one out.
Woo!
Here it is, Dr. Giggles. And it's weird because I have definitely seen that poster before, but I don't know if I've ever noticed the title with the
Lots
poster.
of comic books.
Maybe that's where it is, but I guess I never noticed or picked up on the title of the movie with the poster, because the poster looks creepy if I remember correctly.
I remember like a drill that he's like taking to somebody's face or something like that. Like the trailer. But yeah, excited to watch.
That should be interesting, I guess, right? I don't know. Cool. And then that's on, what is that on? Is that on Tubi? Is that what it is?
Yeah, or Freebie, whichever one you want.
Oh, it's on both kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 2B, but yeah, I think it's both. All right, buddy.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yep.
That is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag filmbrochamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bro Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Hot nacho cheese mother of Christ!